Good morning, everyone. Your morning weather briefing for this July 5th finds that there are no major changes in the forecast versus what I presented a couple of days ago. Temperature and rainfall outlooks for your Thursday. You can see the near-term moderation in temperature showing up for the Corn Belt and areas to the south of there for the 1 to 5 day period, but for the 6 to 10 and 11 to 15 day time frame, still fairly extensive areas of above normal temperatures across the Corn Belt. Models in general remain fairly pessimistic on rainfall amounts for the next couple of weeks across the Corn Belt as well. QPF discussion for the 1 to 5 day period. Once again, the Weather Prediction Center failed to produce a composite 1 to 5 day rainfall map this morning, so that is why I'm showing two rainfall maps to cover the 1 to 5 day period. Going to be a fairly dry time frame. A lot of the rain that is shown in the Corn Belt on the map to the left is going to be occurring during the next 24 hours before the bulk of the Corn Belt is dry for tomorrow and right through Monday. QPF discussion for the day 6 to 7 time frame. Again, this should be a fairly dry period in the Corn Belt, and for nearby areas would not be surprising at all to see rainfall amounts and rainfall coverage be even less than this map would suggest. It does look like rainfall, though chances at least, will return to the Corn Belt for the period just beyond this day 6 to 7 time frame. Afternoon high temperatures back on Tuesday. We did see that 90 plus degree temperatures did return to a large portion of the Corn Belt on that day, and then your high temperatures for the 4th of July. Again, a lot of 90 plus degree heat being seen across a big portion of the Corn Belt yesterday. Your low temperatures on Wednesday morning, there we go. A lot of 70 plus degree lows seen across the Corn Belt for yesterday morning, and seeing a lot more of that again on this Thursday morning as well. Note the extensive area of 70 plus degree lows that is covering a very big portion of the nation's midsection, including a large portion of the Corn Belt as of 5 o'clock on this Thursday. Radar estimated rainfall during the last 48 hours. Scattered rains seen across a big portion of the Corn Belt, but of course your bigger rains seen in northwestern areas, with that rainfall extending on into the northern plains as well. A lot of that area seeing more than an inch of rain, and localized very heavy rainfall amounts seen during the last couple of days as well. Early morning radar is still showing some rainfall in the western Corn Belt. You can notice, though, that especially in recent pictures on that loop, we are seeing the rainfall coverage and rainfall amounts starting to diminish quite a bit, and we will continue to see that taking place with the rainfall shown there probably all gone by the middle portion of this morning. Overall, it is a pretty dry 1 week rainfall forecast for the Corn Belt region. Looking at the various models, again, a lot of the rain that is shown there for the Corn Belt on these models is actually going to be occurring during the next 24 hours. And so if you eliminate that, you're looking at a situation where very large portions of the Corn Belt from now through the daytime hours next Wednesday, probably looking at very little, if anything, in the way of rainfall. So we've had no shortage of rainfall in the Corn Belt for the last 30 plus days. The upcoming 1 week period is going to be one of the drier time frames that we've seen in the Corn Belt for quite some time. As far as the near term temperature forecast, still quite a bit of heat in the forecast for your Thursday. Big portion of the Corn Belt still going to be seeing temperatures running pretty easily above normal, but note the cooling weather that we are going to be seeing today in the plain states, and that is going to be a temperature pattern that will spread across the Corn Belt for tomorrow and also for the weekend. As we get towards Saturday, note the big area of the Corn Belt that will actually be seeing below normal temperatures by that time. The cool down will not last for long, though. Look at temperatures by the time we get to just on Tuesday, already normal to above normal temperatures, returning to a big portion of the Corn Belt on Monday, and then the entire Corn looking at above normal temperatures by Tuesday, and such temperatures in general will continue for the rest of the 2 week time frame. Looking at a snapshot of what to expect during that period, looking at your high temperature forecast already for Tuesday, you can see that by that time, once again, an extensive area of 90 to 95 plus degree heat going to be seen across a big portion of the middle of the country. Once again, it will probably be the overnight lows that will have the biggest anomalies with respect to normal. Note that by next Thursday morning, most of the Corn Belt looking at temperatures for lows being above the 70 degree mark. Probably a situation where some places in the Corn Belt that morning will struggle to see low temperatures getting below the 80 degree level. I would expect that some rainfall chances will be returning to the Corn Belt by the time we get to around next Thursday. It could last for a couple of days beyond that. There is some model agreement that a frontal system, by the time we get to late in the day next Thursday, July 12th, will start to be breaking out some rainfall. best indicated by the European and GFS models, not so much by the Canadian operational and the European ensemble. Just kind of has a broad area of rainfall at that time. Kind of notable that the European operational model in particular, a model that has been so pessimistic in recent weeks to be breaking out rainfall in the Corn Belt, even though obviously it has been wet during that time frame. It is the European operational model in the period from about July 12th through July 14th that is breaking out a pretty solid and pretty significant area of rainfall in that area that I just circled there in the heart of the Corn Belt. Not really willing to buy that just yet. It is certainly not something that is supported by any other model. That would certainly include the European ensemble, but just kind of keeping an eye on it right now. At the very least, anyway, I think that some rainfall chances would return to the Corn Belt for the July 12th through the 14th time frame. But again, I do still believe that we're looking at generally below normal rainfall for the 6 to 10 day period. Longer term, again, as you probably anticipated, going to be talking about this northwesterly flow once again. Looking at 500 millibars as of 7 o'clock in the morning on July 18th. That would be the middle part of the 11 to 15 day period. You can see that a northwesterly flow aloft has become firmly established in the Corn Belt by that time. Again, as I mentioned many times before, the models are not real optimistic on big rainfall chances, even in the 11 to 15 day time frame as this northwesterly flow gets set in place. But as always, I have to emphasize that it is a northwesterly flow in the Corn Belt in the summertime that often does turn out to be a wetter pattern than what the models would initially suggest. Internationally today, over in Europe, still not a real wet pattern for Europe during the next 2 weeks, and that would be especially the case in England, northern portion of France, northern Germany, and western portion of Poland. That's an area that, especially for the next 10 days, could be seeing very little in the way of rainfall. Also looking at temperatures running pretty easily above normal in Europe for the next 2 weeks. We'd call the forecast overall for the summer row crop areas of the former Soviet Union as trending a little bit wetter today. You can obviously see there that we're not looking at big rainfall amounts with just generally normal rainfall at best expected for the next 2 weeks. Also have to keep in mind that a lot of the rainfall that is suggested there for the summer row crop areas of the former Soviet Union not going to be occurring until the 6 to 10 and 11 to 15 day time frame. So there is some certainly a chance for the forecast to change. But for right now, looking at a little bit wetter pattern for the summer row crop areas of the former Soviet Union. Potential is there for even those drier eastern areas to potentially see some half to 1+ inch rainfall amounts over the course of the next 2 weeks. Again, most of that rain occurring late in that time frame. Not as wet of a forecast as we've seen in recent weeks and months for the spring grain areas of the former Soviet Union, but they will still be seeing some rainfall at times during the next 10 days. No shortage of rainfall in the forecast for the next 2 weeks for all of the corn and soybean areas of China, both Manchuria and the North China Plain. Wonderful rain is going to be seen in both areas for the next 10 days. That'll be evenly spread throughout the 1 to 5 and 6 to 10 day time frames for Manchuria. Most of the rainfall in the North China Plain will be in the south for the 1 to 5 day time frame and in the north for the 6 to 10 day period. Not an overly wet forecast for the Canadian prairies and normal to below normal rainfall there for the next 2 weeks. The most limited rainfall in the Canadian prairie is going to be seen in western and southwestern portions of the growing area. They will also be seeing widespread above normal temperatures returning there for tomorrow, and that will largely continue for the rest of the 2 week time frame. Australia looking at strictly below normal rainfall for the next 2 weeks all across their growing areas, especially minimal rains for the next 10 days across New South Wales and also the wheat growing areas of Western Australia. Finally, for this morning in India, it looks like some very nice monsoonal activity going to be evenly spread throughout the 2 week time frame for the central growing areas of India, especially in Maharashtra and southern portion of Madhya Pradesh. To the north and to the south of there, though, monsoonal activity looking to be weaker than normal for the next 2 weeks. That's what I have for your Thursday. Everyone have themselves a great day.